Hi, and welcome to another episode of Joy Recovery Radio. Glad that you've joined us today. Today, we're going to talk about 7 different types of love and which ones are specifically necessary for building a brand new intimate relationship together. When betrayal hits a relationship, it doesn't just hurt or injure the coupleship. It absolutely obliterates it. It destroys the relationship. The relationship in its original form is dead. It's gone. It's gone forever. And that's why there is a particular profound kind of grief that occurs when betrayal happens. Because reality and the relationship that you thought you had is gone. And you can't reclaim it. You can't get it back. And so there is a grieving process. There is a psychological death or an emotional funeral for the relationship. What's left is scorched earth. Just nothing. And so it's not like you can rebuild something that was a complete farce in the first place. You have to build a brand new relationship. You can't go back to the old one. And frankly, why would you? The old one was not genuine. It was not real. And so what's left is confusion. Questions like, did he ever love me at all? How could he say he loves me and then do this to me? So you can't rebuild a relationship, but our thesis today is you can build a completely new relationship from the ground up. In fact, that's the only hope you have. And there is hope, but it's going to require a completely different way of living and thinking and relating to each other. The truth is, not all types of love is the same. And this is where the English language doesn't really help us much. In our English language, we're very limited when it comes to the concept of love. We have just one word that's basically been a junk drawer term that means everything, which means that it really means nothing. Because we use the word love to describe our love for pizza and our love for our favorite sports team and our love for our children and our love for our job and our love for our partner. And so it doesn't capture the nuances and the distinctions and the layers of love. And this is where I really appreciate and admire and utilize the ancient language of Greek. This is the language of the New Testament. This is the language that Jesus used in his teachings. This is the language that I studied for years at seminary as I was studying theology. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is that according to the ancient Greeks, there were actually 7 types of love. And each one has a different kind of connection that it gives you. And some specifically are very helpful and necessary for healing. And some are very strategic and necessary for building a brand new relationship. Now, each of the 7 types of love that we're going to talk about today have their own strengths and their own limits. And some of them can be used in a very disordered way and can bring about destruction. But several of these types of love do play a particular role when it comes to building a new relationship with your partner. And so today what we're going to cover is all 7 types of love according to the ancient Greeks, examples of each one, and I'm going to, in particular, highlight the ones that are going to be very helpful for either healing after betrayal or building a brand new coupleship. I want you to know as we talk about these 7 types of love that in Jacqueline and I's opinion, when it comes to our coaching practice and our philosophy of life after betrayal, 80% of the effort, the work, and the onus is on the man, the betrayer. And so know that as we dive into this content together. The first type of love that we don't want to look at is called in the Greek, Eros, where we get the word erotic. It means romantic or passionate love. What Eros says is, I desire you. I can't stop thinking about you. Most people associate Eros love with romance. It's intense, it's passionate, it's physical, it's sensual. It's marked by a powerful attraction and a desire, usually which is overwhelming chemistry or some type of emotional high. It can be very exciting and bonding in the early stages of a relationship, and it creates this magnetic connection. But Eros is primarily driven by emotional intensity and physical desire, so it is very unstable. And without deeper forms of love that we're going to talk about today, it will fade. It can't last. Once the thrill wears off or real life challenges arise in your life, the Eros will fade. Now, when it comes to affairs, Eros is often confused with true love. But this is not a lasting love, and this is not a true love. In fact, it's what's called limerence. It is fueled by secrecy, novelty, and fantasy. Eros alone cannot sustain any long-term relationship. Now, we don't want to demonize Eros. Eros comes from God, our creator, and it is a beautiful type of love that the ancient Greeks recognized. But it's only meant for the covenant of marriage. And when you take it outside of that environment, it can cause all forms of destruction. Hence, the betrayal. Now, in your coupleship right now, because of the deception and the betrayal and the trauma that's been evoked, you may not have strong elements of Eros in your coupleship. But chances are, you did experience it at one point in your relationship. And you can get it back, but it is not where you want to begin. It is not the foundation to build a brand new relationship on. Most men want to start there. Most men are eager to get there. And that's why it is often recommended that couples go through a season of abstinence when true recovery begins. Because the addict needs to wean himself off of the strong pull that Eros has in his life towards novelty and fantasy and emotional intensity. That's the problem for many of us addicts. We often mistake intensity for intimacy, and they are not the same thing. We need to go through a period of renewing our minds and better understanding the other types of love that we're going to discuss today before we reintroduce Eros into the relationship. What we did with our sexual integrity issues is that we took this powerful form of love that God gave us for our marriage that was meant only for our partner, and we abused it, and we misused it. And we used it as a way to be validated from others, either through fantasy or in a physical affair, as a false way of feeling desirable or worthy or special. We used Eros, romantic love, as a means to escape pain or any unpleasant situation, instead of a way to connect with our partners. So in summary, what is Eros? It's a physical desire. It's a sexual attraction, followed usually by overwhelming chemistry and an emotional high. What does it feel like? It feels like fireworks. It feels like obsession. It feels like a craving. What are the benefits of it? It's exciting, and it can be very bonding in a romantic relationship. What are the downsides or the disorders of it? It is short-lived. It is unstable. And for those who had physical affairs, they often mistook it for true love. Another downside to Eros is that we can use it as a means to escape instead of connecting with our partner. In betrayal, we often mistook true love during our affairs for Eros. The second type of love from the ancient Greeks is called Phileo, which means friendship love. It's where we get the word Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. It's loyalty. It's a deep friendship. It says, I am fully known, I am fully accepted, and I can be my authentic self with you. I feel safe with you. Phileo is the kind of love that is rooted in a deep friendship. It involves emotional intimacy, and it includes mutual respect. Phileo doesn't need the fireworks. It doesn't need the intensity of Eros to feel meaningful to us. Phileo thrives in comfort and being fully known without being judged by the other. This is one of the foundational loves for your future. This is where you need to begin to build a brand new relationship, is in the arena of Phileo, friendship love. Eros, or passion, can fade and it can fluctuate, but Phileo, friendship, creates a sense of steady connection in your coupleship. Couples who want to build their relationship on Phileo, friendship, they build bonds that last through the ups and downs that are inevitable with life. Not because things are always exciting, but because we both feel safe, we both feel supported. Phileo is absolutely vital in the healing process after betrayal. When trust has been broken, you can build Eros later, but you must build Phileo immediately, right now. That means that we need to learn to provide emotional safety. We need to learn to embrace fear, and we men need to take courageous risk to be vulnerable and transparent in a way that we've never done before. Women are also having to take a risk to allow their heart to possibly be broken again, to trust this man to become my friend again. Men, as is often the case, we need to go first. We need to take the risk. We need to be emotionally available, and we need to be emotionally vulnerable for our partners. Now, there's a couple of practices and tools and rhythms that you can use to begin to build that brand new friendship together. One is a specific way that we recommend you do check-ins. You can find this in episode 9. In that episode, we talk about check-ins are not something where you're just checking the box, but it is an invitation to friendship. It's an invitation to emotional intimacy. And the deeper you go with your vulnerability, the deeper the potential is for the Phileo love between the two of you. We also recommend episode 10 on Imago dialogues. This is a way to navigate difficult conversations, but maintain emotional and psychological safety for the two of you so that you can have those necessary, difficult conversations, but both of you feel safe, and it eliminates the potential for reactivity. Another thing that Jacqueline and I do to build our Phileo friendship and our emotional intimacy is to read books together and then to discuss them together. We also go on walks together so that we can have conversations. And here is a very simple practical tool that I use with some of my coaching clients who are trying to build new practices and rhythms of emotional intimacy and emotional vulnerability with their partners. An easy way to remember it is the acronym HELP, H-E-L-P. This is where you share a high or a low, you share both, and the emotions that were involved. So the H is the high, the E is the emotions, the L is the low. So this type of emotional connection exercise that you do together only takes about 5 or 10 minutes. And it's ideal that both of you go. Both of you are practicing being vulnerable. You share a high, you share a low, and what were the emotions that came from that high and came from that low? And then the P is, what preoccupied you today? What were you worried about? What were you anxious about? What took a lot of your mental energy today? A couple of tips around this practice. We do recommend that there be no reaction or no questions except for clarifying questions when your partner shares their HELP exercise. So that's why it only takes 5 or 10 minutes. You're trying to practice vulnerability, but trying to minimize the reactivity. So in summary, what is Phileo? It's emotional intimacy. It's safety. It's vulnerability. It's transparency. It's mutual respect. It's building a deep foundation of a friendship that will last your lifetime. What does it feel like? It feels like trust. It feels like enjoying each other's presence. What is the pro to this? It can build a long-term connection together. What is the con? It can be overlooked if all you care about is Eros, passion. In Betrayal, Phileo love is vital to building a new connection and a new level of trust with a new friendship. The third kind of love that we're going to look at today is called Storge. Storge is family love. It's long-term familial love. It's the kind of love that says, no matter what, I'm here. It's the kind of love that feels like home. It's often experienced between parents and children, or any long-term relationship where you grow close over time. For those of you who are parents like me, you know that the loving bond that you feel with your children is like nothing that you have ever experienced before. It is the dependable love that is marked by security. It's a sense that I belong with this person no matter what happens in life. In an intimate relationship, Storge is often what remains when the excitement of Eros gives way to real life. Storge is built through shared routines and rituals together, mutual support, and a type of commitment that is enduring through the highs and lows of life. You build Storge by raising kids together, by facing health issues together, by growing old together. However, the potential downside to Storge is that we often take it for granted because it's silent and it's familiar to us. The danger is not so much in losing Storge as it is forgetting to appreciate it. But when you nurture Storge love, when you express gratitude to your partner, when you show affection, when you stay emotionally connected to them and emotionally vulnerable with them, Storge becomes the most reliable form of love. It's not flashy, but it is fiercely loyal. You can find it when you walk the dog together, when you buy groceries together, when you cook dinner together, when your partner has surgery and you are a steady caretaker for them and you help them manage their doctor's appointments and you get their meds and you give them rides to their appointments. Storge shows up when a loved one dies and you're holding your partner through that grieving process. Storge is being present, fully present for each other. This is one of the main reasons that betrayed partners end up staying in the relationship even after betrayal. It's because they have an enormous amount of Storge love for their partner. In summary, what is Storge? It's natural affection between parents and children, or any long-term relationship. How does it feel? It provides comfort. It provides protection. It provides security. What are the pros to Storge love? It provides the strongest foundation for the future. What is the potential con or disorder of Storge? It can become routine. It can be hidden. Therefore, we might take it for granted. And in betrayal, Storge is one of the reasons many partners end up staying in the relationship. And you can build Storge again in your relationship as you weather storms together. Another kind of love from the ancient Greeks is called Ludus, where we get the word ludicrous. This is playful or flirtatious love. This is the kind of love that says, you are fun and you are exciting. This is the kind of love that brings lightness and laughter and adventure. It shows up in the way we tease each other, or the way we have back and forth witty banter with each other, or just joking around with each other. Ludus is not so much about commitment, it's more about having fun. It's the kind of love that thrives when there's spontaneity. In your relationship, Ludus can add some energy and some moments of happiness. Couples that continue to flirt together, they have inside jokes that only they know, they surprise each other with little random acts of fun, and they don't take each other so seriously that they can't laugh at each other. Those are the couples that tend to keep their connection vibrant and dynamic. Ludus love, this kind of playful, flirtatious love, is the kind of love that can remind both of you what drew us together in the first place. It reminds both of you that love can still be playful, even after heartache, even decades into the relationship. However, there can be a disordered form of this. When Ludus is not grounded in some of the deeper forms of love that we're talking about today, it can become very superficial. In fact, it can be risky. This is the type of connection with someone that can lead to emotional affairs. So you need very strict guardrails in your life for how you communicate with other people in your life. That you don't give in to playfulness and flirtation. This type of connection can also be a shield that you use with your partner to avoid intimacy. Instead, it's a constant distraction and constantly seeking adventure and fun so that I can hide and keep things surface level. In a healthy relationship, a touch of Ludus can keep the romance alive, but it needs to complement a foundation that's built on trust and respect and emotional intimacy. What does this look like practically? You make each other laugh. You go on date nights. You have playful but respectful trash talk with each other. You have pillow fights. You slip each other silly notes. You flirt at the grocery store. You intentionally have spontaneous moments where you dance in the kitchen, or you send a flirty text for no reason, or you plan surprises for each other. Ludus is playful love. It brings happiness and positive energy into your relationship. But a warning, just make sure that you aren't using Ludus to avoid attachment because you're afraid of being vulnerable with your partner. When you only focus on Ludus and you keep things light and flirtatious and only on a surface level, you're protecting yourself from the risk of being truly seen or possibly being hurt. So in summary, what is Ludus? It's lighthearted, it's teasing, it's fun, it's spontaneity. How does it feel? Flirting, butterflies, laughter. What are the pros? It can add happiness and some spice to your relationship. What's a potential con? It can be shallow. It's the type of connection that can lead to emotional affairs. Or you can use it in your relationship as a form of acting in and avoiding emotional intimacy. And in betrayal, a healthy dose of Ludus, when you're ready for that type of connection, can go a long way, but it cannot be the foundation. In other words, it's the salsa, but it's not the whole enchilada. Another type of love to the ancient Greeks that I'm sure we're all familiar with is the word mania. This is an obsessive, possessive type of love. This is the type of love that says, I can't live without you, but I don't trust you. This type of love is fueled by emotional extremes, extreme highs and extreme lows. There's obsession, there's jealousy, and there's unhealthy dependency on the other. Mania love often feels overwhelming. It's a roller coaster of highs and lows. This love is deeply tied to insecurity. This is the type of love that constantly needs reassurance, and this can become emotionally exhaustive for both of you. While mania may feel powerful or even passionate at first, it is not healthy and it certainly is not sustainable. It can lead to controlling and abusive behaviors. It can lead to emotional outbursts because your sense of self has become entirely wrapped up in the other person and in the relationship. In betrayal, mania can show up when the betrayer becomes emotionally entangled with an affair partner and they're unwilling to let go of the relationship. What they're really unwilling to let go of is the emotional intensity and the emotional high that was created. Mania feels desperate and unstable. It's rooted more in anxiety than in a true, genuine connection. The relationship becomes less about joy and more about managing anxiety and my fear of being abandoned by you. It's not about a secure connection. It's about clinging to control because I'm afraid. And if you don't have some healing and you don't have some self-awareness, mania can pull a couple into this toxic loop, this pattern of relating that feels impossible to break, especially in a relationship that's impacted by betrayal and especially when there is unresolved trauma. So mania is marked by intense emotional reactivity to each other, a deep fear of abandonment, an overwhelming dependency on the other person to validate me. So in summary, what is mania? It's love that's mixed with anxiety, jealousy, control, and dependency. It's not sustainable. What does it feel like? Extreme emotional highs and lows and insecurity. What is a pro? It's rarely positive, actually. It's a signal that there is imbalance. What are the cons? It can lead to controlling behaviors, abusive behaviors, and emotional chaos. In betrayal, it can show up when the betrayer will not let go of the affair partner, or it can show up when there is unresolved trauma. The next type of love that we find in the Greek language is pragma, where we get the word pragmatic. This type of love is an enduring, committed love. This is the love that says, I choose you. I choose you today, and I choose you for all my tomorrows. Pragma is the kind of love that stands the test of time. It's a mature love. It's a steady love. It's rooted in long-term commitment, and it's fostered by shared goals together. It's built on the understanding that love is not just a feeling or an emotion. Love is a decision. Love is a commitment. This love brings emotional safety, loyalty, and a quiet strength to the couple. Pragma love is not flashy, but man, is it incredibly powerful. It creates the strongest foundation for a relationship because it's not dependent on constant passion, and it's not dependent upon a perfect environment or total harmony or peace at all times. Pragma instead is built through time together, sacrifice for each other, and especially this, men, showing up. Consistently, day in and day out, showing up for your partner, especially when it's hard. Pragma doesn't happen accidentally. Pragma will not happen on its own. Pragma love only happens with intentionality and a lot of effort. It requires intentional care. It requires ongoing communication. It requires forgiveness. It's about continuing to choose each other even after there's conflict, even after there's disappointment, even after there's change. Now, when it comes to healing after betrayal, most couples need to shift their new relationship towards pragma as they build a new reality together. They need to let go of any of the illusions of perfection or fantasy, and what's left is a more honest, grounded, transparent connection with each other. They begin to create a relationship that is not based merely on how we feel, but how we choose to show up. We show up with humility, we show up with consistency, we show up with courage, and men, we show up with radical, courageous transparency. Your new commitment is not rooted in fleeting feelings or irrational fantasies, but it's rooted in a shared vision of what the future could and should look like for the two of you. Mutual respect for each other, and the daily decision to connect with each other, and men, for us to show up. When you have pragma love, your behavior whispers to your partner, I choose you today, and I will choose you for all my tomorrows. So in summary, what is Pragma? It's a mature love. It's rooted in a shared vision, shared goals, mutual respect for each other. How does it feel? It feels like loyalty, stability, and emotional safety. What are the pros? It is the best foundation for a new future for the two of you. What is the con? It requires a lot of effort. It requires a level of forgiveness. It requires intentional investment. It requires consistency. And it requires for us men to show up day in and day out and choose our partner above everything else. When it comes to betrayal, most couples, if you want to have a new relationship, a new reality, and a new future together, you've got to shift towards Pragma to get there. The last type of love that we're going to look at from the ancient Greeks is the most powerful, most incredible type of love. It's called Agape. This is selfless, unconditional, sacrificial love. No strings attached. This is the kind of love that God has for us. It's the kind of love that says, I love you, and there are no conditions. I am putting your needs above mine. Agape is the most selfless and unconditional form of love out of the seven. It gives freely to the other, and it demands nothing in return. It is rooted in compassion and empathy, and the desire for the well-being of the partner, even when it's inconvenient, or it requires painful sacrifice. Agape goes beyond feelings. It goes beyond passion. It goes beyond attraction. It is a deep commitment to love your partner through their flaws, through their failures, and their hardest moments. If you want to see a beautiful example of agape love in today's culture, you could probably go to a nearby nursing home and watch that husband or that wife that is taking care of their spouse with advanced Alzheimer's, that's helping them get food, that's helping them get dressed, that's having conversations with them, that's showing up every day and loving them and serving them, even though their spouse doesn't know who they are. This type of love, agape love, inspires healing after betrayal. Men, if you want to accelerate the healing of your betrayed partner, she deserves this kind of love from you. And there can be no expectation on your part that she heals within a certain timeline. There are no strings attached. When the betrayed partner chooses to extend a modicum of grace to you instead of holding on to resentment, she is choosing agape love. When we men listen with empathy to her pain instead of becoming defensive or shutting down in shame, that is agape in action. For the betrayed partner, agape does not mean that you forget the pain. It doesn't mean that you ignore the boundaries that you need with your partner. Agape love does not mean that you trust them prematurely. Agape love does mean that you choose compassion, even when it's really hard to do so. Agape is when both of you bring emotional generosity into places that are broken. Betrayers, we need to go first. We need to demonstrate agape love, unconditional, selfless, sacrificial love to our partners. God calls us to this kind of love in Ephesians. This is the kind of love that she thought you were committing to give her in the first place. This type of love is the best type of love that offers a path towards a new, better relationship that's better than ever. Agape love is the type of love that makes lasting transformation even possible for us men. Agape love enables your partner to meet her full potential when we love her this way. However, there's a dilemma. It's impossible. This type of love is beyond human effort. We simply can't love our partners with this perfect, selfless, unconditional, sacrificial love. The only way we can love our partners this way is if we are experiencing this love from our Creator. The Bible says that God is love. What it says in the Greek is God is agape. Love is God. God is love. If you want to be able to give this kind of love, you need to be receiving this kind of love. And the source does not need to be your partner. The source needs to be your higher power. It is only in a deep, daily, constant, abiding connection with the God of love, the God of agape, that we can receive the agape that we want to now extend every day towards our partners. Let me give you an example of what this looks like. Let's take a fictitious couple named Gertrude and Fritz. I use those names because I don't know anyone who has those names, so none of my listeners will think that I'm talking about them. Gertrude and Fritz has been married for 15 years, and Fritz admitted to infidelity, and it shattered Gertrude's trust. The pain was overwhelming, and for a while, Gertrude didn't know if their relationship could even survive. But after months of hard work, counseling, and support, and honest, often painful conversations, she saw something in Fritz that gave her pause. He seemed to have true remorse and a willingness to change. He wasn't getting defensive. He wasn't being harsh towards her. And he wasn't asking her to get over it or to forget the past. But he was doing the work to become trustworthy again. So Gertrude chose to stay, not out of obligation, but out of a deeper kind of love. She began to show compassion, not because it was easy, but because she believed in Fritz's growth, and she believed in their shared future. She did set boundaries, and she should have. She voiced her pain, and that's necessary. And she made sure her healing was part of the process. But through it all, she extended grace. She forgave little by little, not to erase the past and not to let him off the hook, but to make space for a new beginning. This was agape love, unconditional, generous, deeply rooted in empathy. Gertrude did not ignore her pain or excuse the infidelity, but she chose love that went beyond fairness, and it went beyond her emotions. Her love said, I see your brokenness, and I still love you. His behavior towards her showed that the agape love of his higher power was beginning to change his heart, and he was demonstrating agape love towards her. He was serving her. He was sacrificing for her. His integrity was being completely rebuilt in front of her eyes. She saw that he was becoming a new man with a new heart and new desires, and she allowed herself to begin to trust in him little by little, and she allowed herself to have a little bit of hope for the future. In time, their relationship became stronger than ever. Not perfect, but because of agape love, they were more honest and resilient, and they had a stronger connection than they had ever known. In summary, what is agape? It is spiritual love. It's the kind of love that God has for us. It is when we give to our partners without expecting anything in return. How does it feel? Graceful, compassionate, emotional generosity. What are the pros of agape love? It is the love that inspires healing. It is the love that comes from forgiveness. It is the love that is driving force behind empathy. What is the con? There is no con other than the risk of it not being reciprocated. God is the source, and he's the only one who can provide this kind of love in us and through us. In recovery, agape love offers hope when couples choose to forgive and build a brand new relationship that's based on empathy and God's love. So, as we look at these 7, and we've highlighted the ones that are necessary for a brand new relationship, I want to ask you a question. Do you want to stop living like roommates and start living like partners again? Then it's time to do something different. Many couples are stuck. You know what stuck means? Stuck means that one person is waiting for the other to change in order for them to be okay. And that's why you're stuck. Most couples think that they've fallen out of love, but the truth is, they may have fallen into the wrong kind of love. And they need to shift towards the right kind of love if they want to have a future together. The ancient Greeks didn't settle for one word for love. They had 7. Because they understood, love is not a one-size-fits-all word. If you're building a new relationship after betrayal, you need more than good intentions. You need a plan. In our coaching practice, we can help you. We'll help you with clarity, tools, and emotional power, not just to survive, but to thrive as a couple. We'll help you rediscover the real love that you were meant for. You don't have to navigate this alone. We can help you build a new reality together, using the right kinds of love to get there. If you'd like to learn more about our coaching practice for either individuals or couples, for the man or the woman, or the couple show, go to joy-recovery.com and click on coaching. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.